In episode number 325 of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, we cover the Rocksteady Superman game rumors.
We also have director James Wan's original idea for a Batman film and what he had to say about it.
And our comic book highlight this week is Shazam number 1.
All of this and so much more on today's show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I am your Emperor, Kelli.
And I am Darth Vader Daniel.
And for those of you joining us for the very first time, the way we format the show is first we're going to start out with some news, covering all those topics that I just mentioned. Then we have our Brocat block, our Patreon shoutouts, and finally our comic book highlight of the week.
Kicking the news off with the Disney side, and no, it does not involve the MCU or Marvel. I used to be a pretty big Disney villains fan. I used to collect the different pins, Chernobog especially. They just have the coolest designs, and Frollo, for example, from Hunchback of Notre Dame, super cool villain.
That's so weird that you mentioned him, because I was just thinking about him today. I don't know why.
Everyone should think about Frollo.
And I was like, he's not an attractive man.
No, but that's not why. Why do women like him? Because he's a project.
Because he's a tortured soul, and he just wants someone to sleep with.
That's right.
But he's all bony. Who would want to?
Yes, he's got a bone down there, especially.
It would be very uncomfortable.
Well, thanks to this news got me really happy, especially thanks to the success of 2014's Maleficent. Walt Disney Pictures is working on a prequel origin story for Cruella de Vil, starring, I think she won an Oscar, if not, she's an Academy Award nominated actor, Emma Stone.
Early talks have this taking place with director Greg Gillespie. Is that how you say his name?
Gillespie.
Oh, thank you. Who worked on the Academy Award-winning I, Tanya.
I mean, that's good news. You've got some good pieces right here. What'd you think of Maleficent from 2014?
I really enjoyed Maleficent. It was a twist that we weren't expecting to happen, obviously. I didn't expect it to take that role, and they really, really reinvented the character. So will be interesting to see how they reinvent Cruella, because she's a pretty shitty person. Like, she was going to skin puppies for a coat.
It's pretty hard to make that sympathetic, but
right.
They will find a way.
They'll fight. I mean, how would Maleficent previously was, she's just jealous.
Right.
How do you make that sympathetic? And obviously they did, and they did a great job with it.
For Cruella de Vil, if you really want to get a nailed script, you remember Paul Dini, co-creator of Harley Quinn, worked on the Maleficent script, and there were some things going on between him and Disney where he lost credit for the screenplay, and he really did not want to talk about it due to legal issues.
And then Maleficent makes out with her girlfriend. Paul Dini, the fuck are you writing?
No, she'd make out with Sleeping... No, it wouldn't be Sleeping Beauty, I guess. Who would it be? In that story.
The queen, and that's why she had a falling out with the king.
And get him to write Cruella de Vil, and she apparently makes out with the dude's wife.
So what happens? And then they all raise all their puppies together.
Hopefully. I'm excited for this. I, Tanya, we really liked. That one we couldn't catch in theaters, but we did get it on Vudu. And, of course, Margot Robbie did an incredible job playing is that her name? What, Tanya Harding, was it?
Tanya Harding.
And if you're going to have those very similar pieces in this, you've got Emma Stone, who's an incredible actress, playing Cruella de Vil. Why not? Let's go ahead and do this. I'm all in. More villains, please, Disney. They have an Instagram that's just Disney villains. I followed it because that's my little vote to let's get more of that merch. Let's get more of those movies. Years ago, I was like, they should do a villain theme park. Now I'm like, that's a stupid idea. Like, you can't keep that around 24 hours. It wouldn't work. You couldn't keep that around year long, I should say.
Really? You don't think so?
I don't think it could support itself.
I think it could support itself easily.
I just don't see it as something that Disney wants to brand themselves with. You know how they're
No.
very protective of that?
Yes, and that's the thing, is that they're not going to make a whole theme park just for that, right? Because the lure of Magic Kingdom is, oh, it's all the princesses and all the things, and you're stepping into a fairy tale world, right? And the villains is going to be a little darker. Little kids aren't going to go, I want to go to the villains theme park, right? But then assholes like us are like, yeah!
Well, that's what they originally said, is that it could be a park that's like Universal, where it's themed, big, actual scary rides and a bunch of that would satisfy the thrill seekers, which is something that a lot of people feel that Disney isn't really serving, although they're working on that with that new Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster ride and more rides like the Tower of Terror.
The mine train was pretty cool.
It's cool, but it's not the Incredible Hulk. It's not a fucking the Gringotts Bank. That one's pretty good. I like the roller coaster ride there.
Except I get sick every time I ride it.
Well, because of the damn 3D screens.
Yeah.
Or the Hogwarts battle thing. Like, that one's awesome with the real Dementors out in front of your fucking face.
No, that's terrifying too.
The giant
and
spiders?
the giant spider, no, I close my eyes then also. I just don't like Universal. I would go to a villains theme park though.
Me too. And we're gonna watch Cruella de Vil coming in probably 2 or 3 years. I know Maleficent 2 is wrapping up, or it's near
feel like
finishing.
It's been working on that forever. Do you know Maleficent 1 came out like when we were on our honeymoon? We were watching that shit in that boat theater.
That's right.
That's
yeah.
forever ago.
That was a long time ago. Maleficent 2, though, I'm still shocked. Like, I know it did really well, but where do you go from Maleficent 1? It's such a complete story.
And then he makes out with her wife. That's where they're gonna go.
Over to a bit of debunking news on the video game side, after rumors resurfaced yet again of a Rocksteady Superman game, which is something that people seem to really want from the studio. Game director and co-founder Sefton Hill denied the rumors via Twitter last week.
Quote, looking forward to the Game Awards this year. We're still hard at work on our development bunker, so don't expect an announcement from Rocksteady Games. When it's ready to show, you'll be the first to know. Spoilers, it's not Superman. End quote.
In other words, stop asking.
When they eventually announce the Superman game, I want him to go, spoilers, JK.
Well, a lot of people that are holding hope. They're like, so it's not a Superman game. He did not say that Superman will not be in the game. Justice League confirmed.
Yes, what if it's an Aquaman game?
What if it's an anything DC game? Like, really anything they do. It's got to be another DC game, right?
It doesn't have to be another DC game.
It has to be.
It doesn't have to be.
You think Warner Brothers is going to let that studio go and move on to another project after all the money they made them in those 3 games?
Yeah, but, I mean, Batman's like the best of the best. How do you get better than Batman?
Give us another fucking Batman game then. Jesus Christ. But it's going to be another DC property.
I think it's going to be Aquaman or Justice League. Justice League would be cool.
Fine. Great.
All of them. Flash would be boring. You'd just be running around.
That's not true. They'd make it work.
It'd be so boring.
Rocksteady would make whatever character
Cyborg
game
would be
work.
hella boring.
All of these characters would be
Let
good
me hack
in a
these
Rocksteady game.
computers. Now, if Batman were hacking computers, that'd be a
And
cool
he does.
game.
And he has. While solving a riddle.
What if it's a Wonder Woman game?
Great. Anything. Again, it's going to be something
I'm gonna
DC.
guess it's Wonder Woman. There, done. It's
All right,
Wonder Woman.
that's your guess.
Yep. If I'm right, what do I get?
Again, we don't know.
You'll
We
buy
never said
me-
this. I think I'm going to say Suicide Squad because I'm still holding out hope that my buddy Jeff did not misspeak and his words carried through and we're going to get a Suicide Squad game.
No, it's Wonder Woman for sure.
Something else that Warner Brothers is developing, because once again, I know Rocksteady's going to go in this path, but in another DC EU edition, so we've got another property that is being worked on the film side, is a Tana movie is heading our way according to Deadline.
This would join the rumored Who Cares movie.
You don't care about a Batgirl movie?
I don't care about a Zatanna movie.
Well, it would join the rumored Supergirl and Batman solo films that are now being supposedly moved forward ahead of the solo Flash movie. or Man of
Why?
Steel 2.
No.
Well, a lot of that is obviously the change in direction that they're going in. They're not focusing so much on the universe building movies. They're instead focusing on standalone movies, which, fine, I just want more DC movies, but I want them to be the quality that we did get with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, of course. So all of these, as long as we keep getting that kind of quality and move away from Justice League, great. Stop trying to be like Marvel and building up these universes. As much as these fans tell you they want it, they don't. We just want quality films. At least DC fans, we just want to see that good work on the big screen, something that will stand the test of time, not something that is going to be popular for the year, and then you campaign to maybe have it nominated for a Best Picture award.
Best Picture for being the most voted as Best Picture?
Well, they would love that, wouldn't they? I'm glad they fucking got rid of that shit.
I don't think that Zatanna is a good move. I don't. And it's not just because I don't like the character, but she's not she doesn't have enough of a fan following, I think, to really carry this.
Do you think Zatanna she doesn't even have her own book. She's a part of the Justice League Dark, but do you think she has a smaller fan base than Blue Beetle even?
Yes, because people are going to go see Blue Beetle because he's ethnic.
That's okay. All right. They won't see Zatanna because she's a woman. Wonder Woman hasn't proven that there is definitely a massive 51% of the audience that they could get into theaters.
Well, but women aren't going to go see it just because she's a woman. How many movies come out that are about women and women aren't just like, yes, going to see that?
I think they should.
No, but it doesn't work that way. Wonder Woman worked because, yes, you had both men and women attracted to the Wonder Woman name, right? But then it was a great movie that really showed women's power. If you're making me a movie for women, about women, like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, if you're trying to make that movie, it's going to fall flat. And again, Zatanna doesn't have as much of a fan base as Wonder Woman did. I don't know. I think it's a wrong move.
Either way, it's probably another project we won't hear about for a long time. And there's so many of these movies that are in development that it's just like, all right, until we get a script in, pre-production, a director attached, then I'll say, okay, maybe we are going to get this movie. If it's in development, great. Maybe they're just exploring options.
So when is the Flash movie coming out now? Never?
Ezra Miller said they're working on it, but that it's not going to be for a while, but that he's definitely attached to make that.
But I want the Flash movie before Zatanna, before Supergirl, before Batgirl. I don't care about none of them.
Do you want to see a Man of Steel 2 first or a Flash movie?
The Flash!
Why is that?
Because Ezra Miller was so cool.
He was very good, and the only thing I'll give you is if Zack Snyder is truly not working on the DCEU anymore, then yeah, I'm not as excited for a Man of Steel 2. Give me either one.
I don't know why they're going this route, doing all these other things before the Flash.
I would ask my buddy Jeff, but unfortunately, he got that lower role in the DCEU, but he's back on.
He can't make phone calls? He can't go hack files?
I'm not going to bug him.
I want there to be a file on the computer that says, Jeff, you can't read this anymore. Like, he can just click in there.
Same exact scene from BVS. Doon, 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 doon. A little hat, a top hat logo that he clicks on. Fucking Lex Luthor made a logo for this too.
I want all the important documents just to be on like Word files. Like shitty ass, not even put together well.
In the Zatanna movie, let's say this somehow does magically happen. Will we see any other cameos by members of the Justice League Dark? And who would you want to see?
I really feel like you would have to have other characters in there.
Constantine, for sure.
Well, depends. Who's going to play Constantine?
Maybe someone that you're like, you know what? He's a good Constantine too. It doesn't just have to be TV show Constantine.
It does forever have to be TV show Constantine. It's magic. They can just magic him in there.
Does TV show Constantine hit that level of, you know how with Kevin Conroy, no one else can be Batman. He is Batman. Does he hit that high a level for Constantine?
Yes.
That bar is low, though. Like, really, anyone could have done a good job as Constantine.
That's not true. I really don't think that nobody can be... No, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen.
For any of you that are trying to collect the first appearance of Zatanna, she first appeared in 1964's Hawkman #4.
What a weird book to appear in.
A lot of these characters it was back then, it wasn't like Zatanna #1 or Wonder Woman #1. Look at the Batman, Detective Comics 27. It wasn't Batman #1. Even Spider-Man. Back then, they just put in a character in this comic.
Throw everything against the wall. Something will stick.
If it's popular, maybe we'll launch a Batman #1.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Speaking of Batman, when asked by Collider about the future of Commissioner Gordon in the DCEU, actor J.K. Simmons had this to say.
Quote, "Yeah, I'm optimistic about that. I'm committed on paper to play him a couple of more times, and it's just waiting to see which films are going to come together that might have Commissioner Gordon in them. But yeah, I'm definitely hoping to do more of that." End quote.
I would rather see a Commissioner Gordon movie than a Zatanna movie.
You know what? I agree 100%.
That would be a great movie. And he's got to be like, bring me Batman.
Even if Batman's not in it, if you make it like a proper Gotham Central.
Yes.
And I know the first season of Gotham tried to do some of that, but they kind of strayed after, I guess, ratings started to dip a little.
They got insane, yes.
Yeah, like now we're getting Joker and we're getting Penguin and Riddler, and they're all going to look exactly like the comics. And yeah, maybe it wouldn't have worked as a TV show, just a Gotham Central. I think it would have, but they chose a different direction. Give me that movie. You're right. Give me that Commissioner Gordon film. He can obviously carry his own, J.K. Simmons. If you're listening, Jeff, and you still have some pull over there, like just throw that in the suggestion box.
Add it to their Word documents. And they're just going to think that's what they're supposed to do. Like click on the most movie lineups and just
Honestly, it's probably already on there with how many they're developing.
No, but yes. Okay. I got it. I planned it. Are you ready? I've already planned this. It's going to be pre-Batman, right? And there's going to be, Batman can still be an evil guy. And there's going to be some thing that they're trying to solve, but everybody's convinced it's Batman. But J.K. Simmons knows it's not Batman. And then he's going to have to use, he's a airbender. So he's going to have to use, And then at the end, we can find out that Batman was helping all along and he's really a good guy. And then you can go from there. Perfect. I just wrote the movie.
I think the next time we'll see Gordon is, we're going to get this Batgirl movie about the same time, if not a little bit before the solo Batman film, even though Matt Reeves said that the script is pretty much complete. So maybe we'll get Batman before Batgirl. But in either of those two movies, we'll definitely get a Gordon appearance.
I hope he's an Aquaman. Is he an Aquaman?
I don't think so, no. I mean, there's no reason for him.
Aquaman couldn't go to the surface and be like, hey, Gordon.
Even if it's just for a scene, I hope not, because that would count as like another film in his contract. I'm like, no, use him.
So he's tied to like these
appearances,
yes. Yeah, no, don't put him in there.
But even more Batman heading our way, Lego Batman movie director Chris McKay was asked on Twitter about the possibility of a sequel. What magic is Twitter? Like, they're always just answering these questions, letting us know about news before it hits Newsarama. I love fucking Twitter.
McKay tweeted, quote, "We are working on that right now, actually. In the meantime, Lego Batman is all over Lego 2, coming out in February." That's
right. The Lego Movie 2, the second part, is scheduled to open in theaters February 8th of next year. Give us more Batman. Better give him an even bigger role than you did in Lego Movie.
I would hope at this point that there's no one who hasn't seen the Lego movies, because they are all fucking hilarious.
Yes, they are.
The Lego Movie, Lego Batman was hilarious. Even Lego Ninjago was so funny.
I love that he just kept... What was the joke in the beginning about forgetting his kid's birthday?
I don't remember.
Like, oh, you called me for my birthday? What? It's your birthday? Like, he just neglects his child so much, and it's hilarious.
And the guy doesn't know how to throw, and he's like, somebody should have taught you how to throw.
Dad. God, that's so good. Watch Lego Ninjago if you haven't, guys. Buy it.
Called him Lloyd the whole time.
Lloyd.
We need to watch that again. Do we own that? Let's buy it.
I think we do. I'm pretty sure we do.
Why haven't we watched this?
Baby.
This is true. Maybe Leo would like it. It's animated. It's not Moana, but you know.
He might, but he doesn't really like animated movies unless they look like people.
It's so weird because he likes Moana and then live action things.
He has started to sit through Kenan and Kel, actually. It's the theme song that got him first. And like he started watching that, and then he would sit through a little bit of the show and like crawl off or walk off. But now he's actually sitting there and watching Keenan and Kel burn a turkey and try to find one, and then Kel ends up eating it.
Fry a sweater. What are you teaching our son?
I don't know. He's learning it though.
Well, I've been showing him Christmas romance movies, so I guess I'm not much better.
More from the DCEU again. Shazam director David F. Sandberg has fueled the MCU versus DCEU wars through an Instagram variety poll celebration with the hashtag the original Captain Marvel.
In the Twitter poll, as put up by Variety, the company asked, which superhero movie are you most excited to see for 2019?
At a meager 12%, Captain Marvel from Marvel and Disney, the second lowest of this 4-choice result. Pretty much like the trailer has still been received. I mean, I don't know if you remember the first one where Brie Larson's like, tomorrow we're going to break the internet. Trailer came out, no one cared. Now the second one's coming out. Second trailer just debuted last week. And even the MCU fanboys are, I don't know if you know what they're doing, but they are giving all of their Marvel trailers on YouTube thumbs down until they get their Avengers 4 trailer. They said, let's give all of these thumbs down until we get our trailer. So they're hurting themselves.
Right.
They're commenting on Instagram, on Facebook saying, Avengers 4 trailer, who cares? This should have been the Avengers 4 trailer. It's like, one, you don't know. Why would you release that before the Captain Marvel one? Because clearly everyone's just going to be talking about Infinity War Part 2 when that trailer drops. So yes, you release Captain Marvel first.
Here's what's extremely frustrating and unfortunate about this situation is they're having, I mean, obviously Marvel's coming out with this movie because of the impact of Wonder Woman, right? And a movie that was a female lead.
Feige already said that the only reason they're making this is because of Wonder Woman. It gave them the confidence to move forward. Course.
But what these fans are doing is going to kill that confidence. You're not going to see another movie like this from the studio again for a really long time because all these Marvel sheep are going out and saying, no, this isn't what we really want. But then when they don't put it out, they're going to complain that they don't do anything with these characters and they don't have a female lead and they don't have anything like that.
No, they're not.
They're being B-chance.
They're not going to complain because they haven't complained up until this part about having a female character. Because when Wonder Woman came out, DC fans were like, hey, we beat you to the punch. Where's your female character? Well, she's coming. Like they would just they get the pass, they get the buy.
Some people did complain about the lack of like Black Widow anything.
Oh, that's right. They did. You're right.
Yeah, you don't remember that?
Yeah, and then they produced the Black Widow toys, and no one bought
them. Yes, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Like people are saying that they want these things, but then this is how they're responding to it. So again, you're voting with your dollar. You're voting with your comments. How do you expect them to still have the confidence to go forth and put out what could possibly be a great movie if you're just going to be a little asshole about it?
Right. And the one on this poll here, the one that got over half the votes, of course, was Avengers 4 with 54%.
That's still lower than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was going to be like 70 or 80.
Right.
But right below that was Shazam with 29%.
Yeah.
Over double what Captain Marvel brought in. A little over half of what the Avengers 4 trailer or the Avengers 4 votes were. And I don't even know what this is, like 5 times as much as Spider-Man Far From Home got with an even smaller 5%.
5% for Spider-Man.
I know this is just a, Twitter poll that Variety put out, but it's still really funny that director had to go, hey, original Captain Marvel. From what I understand, Zachary Levi has said that there's actually a joke in the movie that addresses the whole original Captain Marvel thing, which there was actually even one in Shazam, which we're going to review later.
These numbers were not what I was expecting at all. I did not expect Spider-Man to be as low as it was. I didn't expect Avengers to be as low as it was. I didn't expect Shazam to be as high as it was. I mean, really, I'm very excited for the movie, but it's good to see that, nearly 30% of the people are excited for it as well.
Shazam is set to open April 5th of next year. I wonder where Joker would have sat. I know it's not a superhero movie, but let's say a comic book movie poll that Variety would have put. I don't know. I would say I like to think that Joker would have gotten a higher poll result than Shazam.
Yes. Oh, absolutely, it would have.
Does it not look like? Have you seen the wrap up video of Joaquin on the staircase and all of the extra footage?
Oh yeah, and he's like dancing or some weird shit.
Pretty much celebrating the fact that they wrapped up pre-production. Now they're going to go into editing. Then they'll do some reshoots, and then they'll finish off the movie. So we'll probably get our first really teaser trailer in within the next 3 months for sure.
They've taken a really interesting direction with that movie because it really didn't film that long, but I feel like they're releasing a lot of footage of it already, right? They're not taking a lot of steps to make sure, nothing leaks. And I don't think it's hurting them at all that that's happening. I think it's only creating more hype and getting people excited for what they're doing.
One of the things that Joaquin Phoenix was talking about when being interviewed about the Joker is that several years ago, he had talked to his agent and said that the Warner Brothers should actually make a character study film about one of these characters and that it should be a villain. And now, years later, he is the lead role as the Joker in a character study. Oh, he did say also that it had to be low budget. Why don't they make a low budget character study film about a villain? Now he's in that position. This is where he wanted to be. And from all the footage, the background scenes, the extra stuff that when they're not even filming, he's still in character, still running around having fun with it. It seems like all of the pieces have really fallen into place for this to be a really good movie. And even the Marvel sheep have nothing bad to really say about it. Even, one of my coworkers, he has a tough time saying anything other than, well, I guess we'll see. It depends on where they go in this. And it's like, that's all you can say. And that's huge for something that is a solo Joker film that is outside of continuity. It looks incredible.
It would be really interesting to see what happens after this because yes, let's say it's, exactly what he wanted and really a character study of the Joker. The DC universe has so many very complex villains that you can do so many things with. Can you imagine a legitimate Mr. Freeze movie?
Yes.
Right? Where you explore his pain over losing Nora and how that's his sole drive for everything. You could just literally pick almost any villain and make something phenomenal out of it. So maybe if this movie is massively successful, we'll see more low budget, out of continuity explorations of villains, and I would eat that shit up.
Is this Warner Brothers' Maleficent? Is that what's going to happen here?
Make it Maleficent!
Warner Brothers, can you make a Six Flags villain park, please? Thank you.
And if they did, I'd be
What other villains? Like, I want to go down this path. Like, Mr. Freeze is an obvious second. That's a great one, because you don't need Batman for that.
I would
it's another one like the Joker.
Have Schwarzenegger play Freeze, though. So
have him, like, not to say that redo what he did in the... Because he was the best part of Batman and Robin. If he wants to do that again, great, I'll be there. But then you film it super artistic, get really in-depth with his performance. Why not? Let's have it. No, Mr. Freeze is a good one. There's a lot of villains that you can use that don't need the heroes even. Black Adam. Oh, no, they're making one. But, okay, character study. Ra's al Ghul even. With all of the lifetimes that he's lived, how many adventures can you explore?
Right. Something that you could really hone in on with him, too, is you start way back when he discovers a Lazarus pit, right? And you just take segments throughout all the different years. And then when you get to the present time, maybe just... Yes, he's doing all these things, but he's tired at this point, and he knows that he has to continue doing this because he feels like that's what his calling is, and that's what he is on Earth to do, but he's tired. My heart. I'm so ready for this. Write to Jeff. Write to him. Tweet him.
A couple of other come to mind. Obviously, these are all going to be origin prequels or movies, because that seems to be... If you're going to do a character study and you're going to do the sympathy before they became villains, you got to go with the origin. But the other one that comes to Vandal Savage, very similar to Ra's al Ghul, if you're going to go one of those two. I would
probably go Ra's first before Vandal.
Definitely. What about even Sinestro, back when he was on Korrigar, as he's trying to maintain order in his own planet? That can be another. You can have politics at work even in that kind of movie.
Yeah.
Although that would be a much higher budget movie. You want to stay low budget. So
We're trying to say low budget, Daniel.
all right, so stick to Batman villains. And no Mr. Mr. Freeze, but he's not going to shoot a single ray gun.
No.
He'll shoot a ray gun at the screen before the credits roll.
He'll throw ice cubes at people. Who else could we have? What would be another choice after those?
I mean, if you want to really go with Tom King's run, the Kite Man issue, you can do a couple of those issues that he had with his family. I mean, you could do that.
That would be cool. I would love to see a Catwoman one.
A proper one this time? They tried once, but like a real character study? Yeah.
Like a real character, yes. Not Halle Berry.
No.
I wake up and I've been reincarnated.
What's funny is you couldn't really look away though. Like we're just still watching.
It was a train wreck.
I love that on paper. It's as awful as it was, where the villain uses makeup that fucks up her face but makes it as harder than diamond.
Clayface.
Yes, and you thought it was going to be Clayface, and it should have been. You're like, is she going to be Clayface? I'm like, it should have fucking been Clayface. A female Clayface. Why not? And we got something weirder instead. But Clayface is a good one.
Clayface would be a great one. This fallen actor who now just looks ugly all the time.
Keeping that low budget, though, he wouldn't be able to have to be that giant blob. It would have to be like his face is half melted or something, kind of like the Elephant Man.
Well, what you could do with it is start when he's an actor and his career is falling apart and you don't see his full transformation all the way until the end.
There you go. As they're dumping that goo on his face, force feeding it to him. How about Harvey Dent?
Yes. Two-Face.
Just call it Harvey.
What about Harvey Bullock?
Yes, Harvey Bullock. I'll fucking watch that shit.
Eats donuts and smokes all day.
Smokes, drinks, eats donuts. Still alive.
While we're at it, do James Gordon. Just round it out.
There you go.
And Alfred.
I thought we were sticking to villains.
Yeah.
Titus. The dog. Ace.
Ace, the Bat Hound.
Crypto. You could, they have the Krypton show already, but you could even do some of those characters, I guess. Zod, if you really wanted to.
Those are too expensive. Now we're getting back into the expensive ones.
No space, right.
No
outer space.
No outer outer space.
Let us know what you guys think. Would Red Hood be a little too much?
That's too much.
Because you would have to have the Joker. You would have to have
Batman, yes. You want something that you can really have stand alone.
Right, because we know we're getting Bruce Wayne in this movie, but we're not seeing, it's not the Killing Joke it's going to be, I guess, loosely based on the Killing Joke. Who knows? But let us know, Brokettes, what you think would make for a good, low-budget character study film that Warner Brothers should pursue after Joker makes millions of dollars on its low-budget movie.
Millions and millions. How many millions do you think it's going to make?
I have no guess. I don't know. I don't even know what a successful movie is right now. I have not even looked at box office.
What's the budget for it? Any idea?
I'd have to look it up. It's low, obviously, compared to any of these superhero movies, which is always what's funny. Even Kevin Smith has talked about it in his podcast. He's like, if you take the budget of one movie like Justice League or Avengers, you can make 6-7 different movies out of that are low budget and are probably going to be more profitable. The only problem is you're not going to get merch sales out of these little movies. It's like the Joker. You're not going to have toys. You're not going to have Happy Meals. You might have sideshow statues. But
Goodwill is going to make a lot of money off people going to buy random ass suits.
All the cosplays? Yeah. I've yet to see a in-person Joaquin Phoenix Joker, but I'm sure we're going to get it at MegaCon.
You should do it.
I thought about it.
You should.
I know I thought about it for Halloween. We talked about it on the podcast. It was either going to be Aquaman or Mrs. Doubtfire or Joker. I ended up going with Mrs. Doubtfire / Aunt May / Norman Bates.
You should be the Joker. But I foresee, are you ready for my estimate?
Yeah.
138 million.
138. We should ask Riggs, because Riggs would nail it like within 5 million.
Can you write my 138 million in the notes so we can refer back to it when it makes 146 million? That's my second guess.
I can tell you the budget right now. It is 55 million.
Okay, so if they make 138, then they're...
Domestic or worldwide?
Worldwide.
Worldwide, 100 what?
38.
138, so...
Million.
Why not 155, just to keep it simple? I mean, it's got to make more.
No,
it's got to make more than 55. All right, 138.
You can put 155 for you. I'm saying 138 for me, but I think it's going to surpass it to 146. I don't know why I have these specific numbers in my head.
You're summoning your inner Riggs.
My palpiness is feeding from the universe.
That's right. Joker is, of course, set to release October of next year. That wasn't even the show notes. We just went down that rabbit trail from...
I want the Flash to like come back in time right now and be like, you were right, I was 146, and then like disappear again. Then I can wake up like, oh, was that a dream?
You got to wake up twice. Don't forget.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So that's not it though for the DCEU. Yeah, Joker is outside of that, but we were talking about Shazam originally. While promoting Aquaman, my stunt double, actor Jason Momoa, revealed the significance with the now cut Zack Snyder scene of Arthur drinking in the back of a pickup truck as seen in the initial Justice League trailers. Do you remember that scene?
I don't. It's been a long time, and there was a kid in between there and a lack of sleep. I don't remember much from the last 2 years.
There's several scenes that we've since uncovered from Justice League, but one of them, which we did not see, is him in the back of a pickup truck just drinking, and that was one I was waiting for too. It's like, yeah, they never put that in there, and it was pretty prominent in the trailer. But now, as with everything else, Zack Snyder, it seems like we're getting a ton of new information about this a year later now. So a lot of people have speculated that maybe there's some kind of NDA that's expired that is allowing these actors and directors like Zack Snyder, who just revealed more storyboards today on Vero about his now cut version of Justice League.
We have a quote here from Momoa, quote, in Zack's cut, we had it where I was with Volko and Mara, and I say that I have to go home, and they say there's a force coming and that I need to help. And I'm like, I'm going home to see my dad. And so I get in the back of a pickup truck, pound a bottle of something, and then off he goes, the Wanderer. You know what I mean? End quote.
Volko, of course, being Willem Dafoe, who I can't wait to see in Aquaman. I think he's going to be amazing. Great actor. Fantastic actor. So that's another Volko scene that we would have had cut from Justice League. We saw him underwater in one of the, also one of the trailers, actually, one of the footage pieces that he showed of Aquaman meeting the King, and him and apparently James Wan collaborated on how they should include portions of Aquaman's world in Justice League without trying to step on his toes at the same time. The idea is that I think, I don't know, it's still really hard to read what all of this means as far as the revelations on every single scene. And the storyboards that Zack has been showing, which we haven't really seen even in the initial Justice League trailers, people have asked him, are these actual parts that were shot, or is this just storyboard? And Zack said, I shoot everything that I draw. So it was all shot, and we haven't gotten much of that info in any part of any of the revelations. So again, is this just them? We talked about this last week too. Is this them going, fuck it, it's a year later, we can reveal these things, they're not going to give us our cut? Or is this somehow them campaigning for Zack Snyder to get his cut? Like there's a crucial moment right now with Warner Brothers. Or is this a tease of it is coming and here's a taste of it?
There's a really easy way for us to get this cut. And I've just thought of this. I don't know why I didn't think about it sooner. But you're going to call up Jeff and have him click on that Word document of upcoming projects. I just want this to be the lowest security anything ever. Then you can just click in a file that says, Jeff, don't look in here, and then just fuck up their shit. I really hope we're going to get it. Like I said before, I really hope we do. But, you know, at least we're seeing these things. At least we can piece it together in our minds. And like I said last week, maybe this fan fiction is better than what we actually would have gotten.
I heard this discussed on DC Filmcast, and I want to ask you, because we haven't talked about this in a little bit, if they were to release a Zack Snyder cut at some point, how do you release that version of Justice League? Do you do a limited theater release or full? Do you do only Blu-ray? Do you do only streaming, only digital? How do you market this the best and retain or make the most money out of what is going to cost you a lot of money just to put together?
I think that what they would probably do is either release Blu-ray only or digital only and just say, own the Snyder Cut. And that's how they're going to release it. If they do ever do it in theaters, I could see it being maybe a Fathom Events.
Right.
Where it's very limited. this night only, and then once it sells out in 15 minutes, then they expand it to more
Yes.
nights. They're not going to do it in every single theater, obviously, because there's only, and while it's a lot of people, there's only a select market that are going back to see the Snyder Cut. Everybody else is going to say, why are they re-releasing Justice League? We didn't even like that movie, and they're not going to go see it. So you would get a Fathom Events if it's in theaters, but more likely than anything, they're either going to have just digital or a Blu-ray release.
If they were to move forward with a Snyder Cut, and they're already spending the money on special effects for Darkseid to actually finish off that boom tube scene, and obviously you want to clean up the rest of the movie and re-edit everything, put in the original soundtrack to it, it's going to cost money. But if you're already going that route, then you already have your special effects team working on this. Do you add any additional scenes to it that Zack might have wanted to originally put into the movie now that he does have more time?
No, you definitely wouldn't. Yes, that would maybe make it the more complete film that he wants. But the point of this is the movie that you would have gotten with what we had filmed. Done. That's it. That's what the point of this is. So you're not going to spend that extra money and then pretty much almost bring the movie like you're creating a whole nother movie, right? With the money that you're spending on it, that they're going to sell some of these, but I don't foresee them making an immense amount of profit off of it.
Do you put in the post-credit scene? Because we got the one with Superman and Flash racing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you put in the original of Bruce meeting Kilowog and I think it was Tomar Ray at the Bruce Lake house?
Was it filmed?
Man, I gotta think back on when we talked about this. I thought there were early screenings in which people did see this type of cut or this original where the effects weren't finished either. It was like a slide of...
Then yeah, you finish it because it's already filmed, but you don't go back and film more scenes.
I say go back, film more scenes if that's what makes Zack happy. Whatever keeps him in the DCEU. What else did you want, Zack? All right, we can throw in a little more. Do it.
They
If you had
wouldn't
more
do
time.
that. They're just going to take what they already have and recut it. That's all that's going to happen, if it even happens.
Add another Green Lantern in there. You're already doing the special effects.
Yeah, might as well. Just add them all. You know what? Make it in
Pull a
space.
Lucas.
Make it in space.
The final bit of news that we have this week comes from James Wan, director of Aquaman. Before landing the role that we are getting from this movie this month, can't wait to review it with you all, but he wanted to use his roots in horror films for Batman.
He told Heroic Hollywood, quote, "In the past, like most people, I loved the idea of directing Batman, but a horror version of Batman. That would be a potential fantasy of mine, but I feel like he's been done quite a fair bit. But I do love the idea of doing an outright scary Batman." End quote.
People immediately went to, it's gotta be the Scarecrow then. It's gotta be Man-Bat.
See, I took this a completely different way. Yeah, that would be cool, but I kind of saw it as Batman is the one who's fucking terrifying,
Yes.
and the villains are seeing this, and they're like, whoa, this is super scary.
That's exactly where my mind went to, where it's like, we haven't really gotten a Batman that scares the audience.
Right.
We see everyone else being scared by Batman because we're seeing everything from the perspective of Batman. But something where even we jump or we kind of like are in suspense for Batman taking down these villains, these criminals, that is something we have never seen on the big screen.
And that would be a really interesting dynamic because the whole time you would understand that Batman's the good guy, right? So let's say throughout this whole movie, it's from the criminal's point of view. And so you kind of feel like you're in the shoes with the criminal. So Batman's coming after you, which is obviously what you would do to make that suspense and make it scary. And so the whole time I'd be like, yeah, Batman needs to take me down. But then I'd be like, don't look around the corner because Batman's there.
Batman's going to get you. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That would be really cool. Make it low budget. Throw it on that list. You could do that one really well, low budget. Maybe make it like Blair Witch style.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, I mean, if the way you do that is by having like a body cam on one of the GCPD officers,
Right.
and you have Batman showing up every now and again, and then the villains, of course. But it does not have to be like you said, Scarecrow or Fear Gas or any of that. That's not what he was going for. And you can make Batman terrifying. That's in his character. And
right.
Just
that's
focusing the movie on that, you can pull that off.
We don't see him that way because obviously we're in love with him. But yeah, that's how the villains see him, right? You're trying to pull off this heist, and then suddenly there's this man out of nowhere taking out all your friends, and he's just this giant black mass of human perfection.
I thought no criminals were scared of Batman, where they're just like, oh no, they get knocked out by they instantly
my
come.
heart.
Right. That's what it was in Arkham Asylum, where he would like choke them out and they'd be choked out within like a second. It's like,
I'm just gonna take a nap.
I need a cigarette.
Thank you, Batman.
And one of the memes, of course, of the jealous girlfriend was made with Matt Reeves being the jealous girlfriend, Batman fans being the boyfriend looking over like, ooh, and then James Wan being the other girl walking by. It's like, yeah, let's get that movie. And Matt Reeves is like, hey, I'm working on something here.
Yeah, but not the horror Batman
Now we want
movie.
that horror one. And he's like, but I'm making that detective one. Yeah, but that horror one is cool. It's cool. I'm glad James Wan, maybe he'll land something like that. Obviously, with the success of Aquaman, that is probably going to be a hit. I mean, from everything that people are saying and all the projections, it's going to do really well. He will then have the door open to, do you want to do a different character, or is it just going to go straight to Aquaman 2, which is the more likely scenario, I think.
Yes, but like we were mentioning earlier, again, if the Joker is very successful, I could see them opening the doors for more non-canon, low budget, anything, really. And this, I think, would fit very well with that.
Yeah, but that's that's a whole different line of films that they're focusing on. Like, this whole Aquaman thing is blockbusters, family,
right,
you know.
Right. I mean, I get that. But again, you're opening the doors to make more films like that, more films like Wan wants to do. So once he's done with his blockbuster run, flip him on over there. Something that I didn't realize, speaking of Aquaman, before we move on, because I have to get this off my chest, I keep remembering it, and then I forget again.
Well, you remembered this time, and the Brokeheads are happy about it.
Because I remember something.
What, did you mean to say it on the podcast?
Yeah, I did.
All right, then they're happy about it.
I just kind of relearned this recently. So Momoa is playing Aquaman, which takes place...
Double, yeah. Okay,
yes,
sure.
Sorry, he's doing your stunts in Aquaman, which takes place in Atlantis. But he was also on Stargate Atlantis.
Yes.
Why did I not put 2 and 2 together? I'm like, you've already been playing this role for years, Momoa.
There's a couple of early pictures of his early acting where, I mean, he looks very different than what he does now, and it's kind of funny. And people are pointing those pictures like, yeah, Jason Momoa, I can't wait. And they're just finding the early roles and putting up the funny pictures. Short hair, like the poofy tops. And it's like
perfect.
Before he got into the bar fight that got him that cut above the eyebrow. And it's like, all right, there's young Momoa trying to, I guess, be a teen throb guy, but it's
a heartthrob.
Not quite working.
My dad and I got into a discussion about him. I don't know. My dad went through his whole film history, and I'm like, Dad, how do you even know this? Because he's like, you don't remember it, but he was on Baywatch Hawaii, and then he did this.
I think that's what it was from. Yeah, the pictures.
He did Baywatch Hawaii, and then he was in Stargate Atlantis.
Yep.
And then Dad told me all about Game of Thrones because my dad watched the whole thing. But every time he mentioned it, he's like, it's not that great of a show, but I watched all of it. And I was like, And then he talks about Frontier, which is on there now, which he hasn't watched. I think my dad has a crush on Momoa.
He might. I mean, that's a lot of information.
I mean, he does have a crush on Henry Cavill. We knew that.
A lot of men do.
And in the words of my father, he's a good-looking man.
He could be listening. He could be.
My dad or Henry Cavill?
Both.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Henry.
I was trying to find this image of young Jason Momoa to show you, but that's...
Say Jason Momoa, Baywatch Hawaii.
No, well, that's not that's the first one I looked up, and that's not the image that I was looking at, because in that one, he has his hair even shorter. But in the funny picture that I was looking for, it's like kind of poofed up, kind of funny looking, like I'm seeing, the Stargate Atlantis one. But he has definitely gone through that transformation of image as far as actors. I mean, this one's pretty funny. He's got a ponytail.
Why? I just Googled young Jason Momoa. Oh, he was a baby. Like that one. What's with his hair? Why is he looking like Fabio?
He was getting there, right?
That was before he waxed his chest. Oh no, Jason Momoa. See, men look better with age. Now it's proven.
It's like a wine, right? Like you kept saying?
Yes. Women do not go that way.
What do women age like?
Horribly. Like fruit. left,
Jesus.
left on the counter. In a paper bag.
You said that, not me. All right, let's head into the Broket block, which is what Kelli and I have been doing this week. And you have your first-hand thoughts on, which I did not know you would dive into this as hard as you have, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu for the Nintendo Switch.
Yes, so we did buy that Pikachu Switch because, like we said before, I can't have... There can't be a Pikachu system created that I don't own because I have a sickness. And I admit that it's a sickness. That's the first step to recovery, right?
Reasons we're broke.
Yes. So we did get the Switch, and I said, you know what? Let me play this Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, because that was also a pull for getting the Switch because it included the game. So I had to download it. It's download only. They don't give you that tiny ass little cartridge that Leo would eat. And, started playing it because I said, let's just see what it's all about. I had heard things. You said that it was, you only catch Pokemon, you don't fight them in the grass in the wild, right? And so I said, okay, whatever. Even if I just play it for the first little bit, then I can have some knowledge of what it is and determine if I like it or not. And I think thus far, what do you think I'm going to say?
It's like your second favorite Pokemon game.
It's like my third favorite Pokemon game. Because it goes like Yellow, right. Soul Silver, and then Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu.
Wow. Nice.
I really enjoy it. So here's the thing about me. I do really enjoy the Pokemon games, but I'm a much more casual player of it than you are, right? You like to get your stats a certain way and, put all these Pokemon and give them all these little things and fight them and I don't know. All your crazy stuff.
Playing the game as efficiently as possible.
You play the game very competitively, though.
There you go.
And I don't. I play it to enjoy it. And Pokemon Let's Go has gotten rid of all the things that I disliked and were tiresome about the Pokemon games and made it even easier to play. They did,
yeah.
And that's the thing. It is a very easy game. If you're trying to play it competitively, you're not going to get that.
From what I understand, you can play it that way, but it's not really the experience that these competitive players are looking for.
Right. Well, a great example is Brock, right? Because it's not just your wild encounters, you can only catch Pokemon, much in the same way that you do with Pokemon Go. But you don't have to spin the little ball and throw it. You can just hit the A button, which is all I do. So I did appreciate that they changed that because I hated that bullshit. Every experience you earn, all of your Pokemon earn that experience. So there's no switching out one Pokemon and playing with just them to get them all to the same levels, which is what I used to do, and level grinding, essentially.
At default, you get experience, all is what you're saying.
Right. Yes, a default. They all get it. Everyone in your party gains the experience. But a great example is Brock. So when you start out Pokemon Yellow with Pikachu, you have to catch some bug Pokemon, right? Usually a Caterpie, and train it enough so that it learns something that can defeat Brock's Pokemon. But Brock's Pokemon start out at level 12. Mm-hmm. So you're level grinding for probably 4 hours to get to a point where you can actually beat Brock. I walked in there, just walked into the city, walked right up and beat him.
Yeah, but
with one Pokemon.
What? Oh, okay. I thought you were still with your 8 or Pokemon. I don't know. You had a lot.
No, I have 6. I've caught a bunch of Pokemon, but there's only 6 in my party.
Sure.
As standard. But no, just with my first Pokemon, one Pokemon in my party, destroyed him.
Who was it?
Granted, it was Oddish. But the gym also, when you walk in, they really help you out. This is clearly aimed towards kids more, but I walked in and he's like, so to fight Brock, you really should have a water or grass type. Can you show me one of those Pokemon?
So you need one to even challenge him?
Yes.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. You can't just say, I don't have one. Move up, move over. What the fuck are you? Push him by his face.
Who are you? Get out of here. So as far as the gameplay, it is much less of a challenge, but that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the nostalgia of running around, playing all these things. I played straight through until I got to the guy who sells me the Magic Carp for $500.
Yes. Did you buy it?
I did buy it. Of course yes. I fucking bought it. And it's funny because earlier in the game, I'm talking to somebody and they're like, some shady man sold me some Pokemon for $500 and it's useless. And then I go up to him and he's like, hey, you want to buy this Pokemon for $500? And I'm like, yes. And then I talk to him again and he's like, I'm not trading it back. You knew what you were getting into.
What if you wanted to be like, hey, thanks? And then he's like, hey, no refunds.
And I'm like, no, thank you for this Magikarp because he's going to kick your ass later. So I did. I played up until I got my Magikarp. I'm about to go into Mount Moon. This is going to be a really long review because there were a lot of things that we could talk about.
Well, one of the easy mode things that they do now is you don't need to go to your PC to trade out your Pokemon. Everything you catch, you can switch on the fly.
And I thought that was a really great touch because, again, this is you earn XP by catching Pokemon. So I'm just catching Pokemon. Like I have 14 Rattatas. I don't know. You're just catching all of them. And I was like, I don't want all these Rattatas in my party. And I'm in the Pokemon or the Poke Center trying to find this computer and there's no computer. I'm like, what the hell? But it's in your bag. You click on box and you can like move. You can rename them right there. You can check all their stats, everything right there in your box.
Where's the PC? What's a PC? There's no computers in this world. That's
pretty much what they're like, Kelly, pull out your smartphone and you can just do it there. The other thing that I like is when you send them to your, you know how you say you sent them to your PC. Now you tuck them away in the PC. And I'm like, okay, they don't even call it a PC.
So you can just carry 1,000,000 Pokeballs.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah. Every person that you fight gives you like 3 Pokeballs or Great Balls so that you can continue going around catching these Pokemon.
Tell me about the one of the fun portions of it is the Pokemon that follow you. If you have Pikachu or Eevee, you pointed out, and I thought this was great, that those don't count towards the Pokemon following you.
So in the very beginning, Pikachu follows you around until you go to Viridian, and then you come Viridian. What's the first? No, what's the first one? Yeah, Viridian. Pewter's first, and then you get Viridian after.
Yep.
No, you go through the Viridian Forest to get to Pewter.
We're on the road to Vermilion or
Viridian City. So you go from Pallet Town to Vermilion. Viridian. I just named a color. You go to
next
Viridian.
Town. Jeez.
Because it's the Viridian Gym and it's closed. That's what he's skipping.
So, and then it's Pewter. Yes. Right.
So you go to Viridian and then Pikachu follows you the whole time and then you go back to Professor Oak's. And then at that point, Pikachu jumps on your shoulder and sits on your shoulder for the rest of the game. And I was like, all right, well, this Pikachu is just going to sit there. And then I talked to some lady, because you talk to everybody in that game. You got to. People give you gifts all the time. And she's like, yeah, just click on a Pokemon and they'll follow you. And I was, what? And she's like, yeah, just click on one and they'll follow you around wherever you want to go. And so I have my Nidoran male follow me around. Pikachu sitting on my shoulder. And then they give me matching clothes for my Pikachu. So my Pikachu is dressed like I am. So Pikachu's sitting there. Nidoran males following me around. I can talk to him whenever I want to. We're becoming friends.
I know a part of the game that it was revealed to me on Call of Duty last night that is going to make you go nuts when you learn it. You don't want to know it yet?
No,
like in an excited way. Like it's going to be a good thing.
I'll be really happy.
Yes.
Should I be surprised? Would I rather be surprised? I already had a moment when I went nuts when I stepped out of the Pewter Gym.
What happened again?
Oh, well, I gotta finish my story. Okay, so Nidoran males follow me around, right? And the Pokemon, like, look at bushes, and they're like, I found you things, and you go and get them. But what I thought was really cool is I walked in the museum, and I'm just walking around, and my Nidoran male runs away. And I'm like, why the hell is he running away? There was a moonstone in a case, and the game was like, these Pokemon are gonna go and look at it, because that's what they evolved from. And I was like, oh my god!
That's pretty amazing.
It was
it's an
so
attention
cool.
to detail.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't have thought that they would have had enough time to throw in there. And let alone the fact that they can run around and find you items.
Right.
They're really making Pokemon so much more of a living thing than ever before.
They really, like, and the cutscenes when I'm talking to my Pikachu makes me feel like my Pikachu is actually fucking there. I sound like a weeb, but whatever. Makes me feel like he's right there. But one of the scenes that I really freaked out about, and this is going to be minor spoilers, so if you guys don't want to know it, obviously skip ahead a little bit. But I exit the Pewter Gym, and I hear, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on? And Gary's there. Blue is standing there, and he's like, I was going to come teach you how to be like fight in these gyms, but I guess you're okay. Smell you later. And I was like, oh my god. And I tried to chase after him. I was like, my in-game boyfriend. There you are. Come back, Gary. He was really nice.
Not as mean as before, right?
No.
They toned him down some.
Yeah.
Hashtag 2018.
Well, I feel like he grew up.
I feel like it's hashtag 2018.
Because he's like, be nice to my grandpa. And I was like, okay,
That's
Gary.
not the Gary we know. What the hell? But
it was really cool. Again, like you're saying, just those little touches, right? This is a game for younger players But when people like me play it, those are all throwbacks where I'm like, yes, this is my Pokemon, even though it's that much easier to play.
Okay, well, I guess I'll leave the thing that I was going to tell you.
No, tell me.
Do you want to know?
I
do. You really want to know?
I'll still be excited.
Okay, yeah, this is the first time she's hearing it. Do you remember in Pokemon where you had to infiltrate a certain part? So you had to go undercover as someone?
Do I get to become Team Rocket?
You keep a Team Rocket outfit for the whole game if you want.
I can't handle this right now. Oh my god.
You can be Team Rocket, and there's a Team Rocket outfit for Pikachu as well.
This is all my dreams coming true. There are genuine tears in my eyes right now. Oh my god, I'm so happy.
You've wanted to be Team Rocket for years.
For years? For when did Pokemon Yellow come out? When was the first time that Team Rocket said, would you like to join? It was underneath with the red Gyarados in the house.
Yeah, I don't remember, but...
That's when it was. and they said,
yes.
Do you want to join Team Rocket? And I wanted to say yes, but then somebody set off an alarm. And we ran away. I'm so happy. When does this happen? Don't tell me when it happens. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Team Rocket for the whole game. Is that going to be your outfit?
Yes! That's all I'm going to wear. And then I'm going to try to steal Pokemon, too. Oh, Jesse and James are in it also.
Yeah, it's a remake to Yellow. Like, that's the whole summary of this game, really, right?
But it still makes me excited. And the graphics are beautiful.
Yes,
you even mentioned, like, the game looks fantastic.
It is the best looking Pokemon game, as it should be, because every time they make a new one, they improve all aspects of it. You can see Pikachu's fur in the game when you're playing. It is a gorgeous looking game, and I can't, whenever you're playing, even the backgrounds, the characters, it all looks really clean, even on the Switch, on a small little screen in HD. I'm like, well, it might look better on the TV, maybe, but it still looks incredible on the Switch.
I will say that I'm really enjoying the Switch system a lot more than I thought I would. It's very easy. Obviously, you pick it up out of the dock, right? And it's ready to go because I put the little... Oh, I found out why it was lagging, by the way.
Yeah, what is it?
So I didn't have one of the handles for the controller clicked down all the way, so it was constantly switching between that and the other controller. And so that's why I couldn't use it because it thought it wasn't connected. So I connected and it's working fine now. But it's a very comfortable system to play. It's not too heavy. I guess we're all used to holding our phones and shit all day long anyway, but not too heavy. I could play it pretty easily. The system itself is beautiful. Like that, I'm really glad that we spent the money on it because it really is a nice looking system. But I like I can carry it around on a handheld because that's ultimately what I want to play my Pokemon on is on a handheld. And then when I'm done, I can just bloop, click it right back in the thing. It's going to recharge for me, and then I can pick it up and go later. And Leo doesn't bother it, so that's nice too.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. Well, for now, until he actually knows what it is. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you're having a good time with Pokemon Go. I know we both suspected that it was going to be like, well, it's just a diet Pokemon game. Who cares? But it turns out that you really enjoy it.
I mean, and granted, it is a diet Pokemon game. It is much easier than any other Pokemon game you're going to play. But I don't have the energy right now to really invest in a difficult game, right? I want something where I can just kind of breeze through it and enjoy that nostalgia and enjoy those moments like Gary showing up. Like soon when I get to wear my Team Rocket costume for the entire game, petting my Pikachu and feeding him berries and, again, just breeze through the game and have fun with it. And that's really what this game is just having fun.
And you even want me to get a copy.
Yes, I want you to get Eevee because I think you would enjoy it.
I might like it, but I've started Fire Emblem Warriors, and we've owned that game for months now, but now that we have a Switch, I started it. It is like a Dynasty Warriors game, and that's fine. It's with Fire Emblem characters. It's a little bit repetitive, but I think what keeps it fresh is that they keep giving you new characters to try out.
Right.
Even though I'm at the beginning, but I got Marth now, so I'm running around with her, and she is so far my favorite character because she's the quickest, and yeah, I've been enjoying that, but, Smash comes out this coming week,
shipped.
So...
You'll have it soon.
Right, and by the time this podcast comes out, everyone will be playing Smash and not listening to this show, and for good reason.
Why can't they listen to the show while they play Smash?
Yeah, that's true. You can do that. You should do that. I hope you're playing Smash as you're listening to this. All right, let's head into our thank yous for this week before our comic book highlight for Shazam, our Patreon shout-outs of the week.
This week we have 4 shout-outs. Our first one goes out to John, whose Twitter handle is at John72Tex.
His Instagram is also at Johnny2Chips. That's the number 2. And that's where he did put up an image of one of his favorite Flash comic books, Flash number 139, which is the first appearance of Reverse Flash.
That B-Chan. I hate Reverse Flash.
Without Reverse Flash, though, we wouldn't have Flashpoint. We wouldn't have Doomsday Clock. We wouldn't have Batman the way we're getting it. I like Reverse Flash.
Fine. Our next shout out goes out to Brian, whose Twitter handle is at BrianSchaub1.
Brian retweeted images of the 1993 Toys R Us Christmas catalog, which included Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis for $59.99, $60 in 1993, everyone.
That was a lot of money.
Games. People whine about the expense of games today. Nuh-uh. Go back to 1993. The Deluxe Talk Boy for $29.99, which I saw in a lot of movies, and I was always curious about. But it's like that tape recorder with the microphone thing that comes up. That was on there. And also the Sega CD console for $229.99.
That's a lot of money, too. That's what we pay for systems now.
The Genesis was $89.99 in that same catalog. So it's like, yeah, obviously parents are going to go, well, just get you a Genesis.
Right. But that's not what I want.
You're getting a Genesis.
I used to love that catalog. There was that one and Sears. Both had really great toy catalogs. And I love that they included the stickers so you could put kind of want and don't really want.
There was a don't really want sticker?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Because they had 3 different colors. There was green, yellow, and red. And you don't remember those?
No, I never had that.
Maybe you were too old by then.
Maybe.
Yeah, I remember those. By the way, speaking of Christmas and gifts, I'm getting on a soapbox for a moment, but I read a really interesting thing, which as parents now, these are the kind of things I look into, right? But somebody was saying that if you get your kids a big gift, you shouldn't tell them that that big gift is from Santa. You should say that it's from us.
Oh, I see what you're so giving the parents credit for that big gift as opposed to
right. But their other reasoning behind it is, so let's say you give your kid an iPad and you say it's from Santa, right? And they're going to go to school and say Santa gave me an iPad. And then the kids whose parents can't afford an iPad are going to say, well, why would Santa give you that and Santa only gave me socks?
This is why Leo it'll just be us. There's no Santa.
He doesn't get to believe in Santa.
No, what? This is the thing, Kelly. This is this first big betrayal when he finds out that Santa's not real. That's only hurting him in the long run.
That's so sad. I love Santa.
It's not sad. It's good. It's a good thing to also be like, my mom and dad got me these gifts for Christmas. What benefit do you have to Santa other than there is no benefit, but that betrayal of, this is the first time my parents really lied to me about this. Because when they find out, they're not going to go, oh, they loved me. And what's the reason? Why is Santa?
Because now that I'm old, I'm over that betrayal and I love Santa.
Do you think your parents, I'm glad they told me about Santa. No, I never think that. It's like, oh, my parents got me these things.
Whatever.
We're going to come to this disagreement, aren't we? This is going to be a thing, isn't it?
Our first major parenting roadblock.
Yeah, it is.
Tweet us, #Santa yes.
Oh, they're all going to say Santa yes.
Santa
they're all going to say Santa yes because they've been conditioned and raised to say, no, this is the right way to do Christmas.
Okay, so let's make up somebody else. It can be the Ninja Turtles that bring him presents.
It's the same exact fucking problem.
I know. I just love Santa. I'm not disagreeing with you.
You can love Santa all you want.
Disagreeing.
And he could too. But he loves the figure of Santa. He loves Mickey Mouse. He loves the Ninja Turtles and Batman. Those are all the same thing. Just one of them you're not saying is real and he's going to come visit you. No, mom and dad are going to celebrate Christmas. It's going to be a family thing. It's way more. There's more heart to that than to the Santa myth.
So he's going to be the kids in school going, Santa's not real.
Of course he is. There's always that kid. And he's going to be that kid, maybe. Or I can tell him, look, there's these people that think this.
They're fucking psycho kids. Moving on. Our next shout out goes out to Christian, whose Twitter handle is at WhiteHispanic58.
Christian retweeted a quote from Captain Marvel star Brie Larson stating, quote, I don't want to feel different. Kind of over the, quote, first female, blah, blah, blah. And wow, maybe women can actually do the same thing that dudes can do. What a crazy concept. I feel like the more we talk about it, the more we perpetuate the myth that it's an impossible task, end quote.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Yeah, I think she's obviously referring to the fact that she's not going to get a bunch of interviews, even though she's not the first female superhero. We've gotten that many times before, but as far as even on this scale or even recently, we got that first with Wonder Woman, but you're still going to get those questions. So it sounds like she does not want to take, I think she should. I think that's great for marketing, and I think that will bring in more ticket sales, but I understand that she is being honest with people and saying that, yeah, I mean, come on, why are we still talking about this? It's 2018.
Yes, I agree with that. I'm fine with her stance. She is going to get a lot of those questions, and if she can stick to it, I think, I don't know if we talked about it before, but there's a lot of those videos coming out of the female actresses who are kind of protesting the questions they're asked on the red carpet. Have you seen those?
No, I haven't.
Where they'll ask them like, "Oh, who are you wearing today? Who designs your dress?" And they go, "Did you ask that actor that? Are you asking the men that?"
No, but there's more money in the dresses and there's more effort and there's more that goes into that. That's why they're asking those questions. There's designers that go behind it. That's a stupid fucking thing.
There's designers that design suits.
But they're not as known as the ones who do the dresses. Most of the attention goes to the women and the dresses. That's why they're asking that. What's the other question, though, that they're protesting? Because I might agree with one.
I don't remember. That's the only one I remember.
To me, that's silly. But I guess that's on the same line.
Or they ask him, who are you leaving the party with tonight?
Fine. Well, they can ask that to guys too, but I guess they don't. Okay.
They don't. Or they asked it to Taylor
sexist,
Swift.
Though.
They asked it to Taylor Swift once. They ask her? They said, "Oh, well, you look great tonight. Maybe you'll, have a nice man to take home or something like that." And she's like, "No, I'm going to go out with my friends and then I'm going to go home to my cats."
That's good. That's awesome. Also, finally, Kat on Instagram @Katsha, who's been putting up shots of Atlanta, including a visit to the Buckhead Theater. Really good shots of the city, good shots of the theater, and of course, more music shares from Kat.
So that is it for our Patreon shoutouts this week. Thank you so much to every single one of you who support us monetarily, to those of you who just tune into the show to help us out as well.
If you too would like your shout out, if you have $1 to spare each month for the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, for the Palpa Kelly, head on over to thereasonsimbroke.com, click on the Patreon ad at the very bottom, or head on straight to patreon.com/thereasonsimbroke. There is also a link in today's show notes.
But of course, the best thing you can do is reach out to us on Twitter. Let us know what you think of the show. Let your friends know about us. Leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
Huge thanks to Jose on decalavenue.com for the help with the decals at the $5 reward tier.
And if you would like to be on the show, something you can do completely free is leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/thereasonsimbroke.
Also, of course, a link in the description of today's episode.
But as we come to the end of the show, it is some of your favorite segments, our comic book highlight of the week.
This week, we've got Shazam! Number 1. First time we've had an ongoing for Shazam in many, I think they said over 30 years.
Wow. So this is written by Jeff Johns with art by Dale Eaglesham and Mayo Sin Naito. And the colorist is Mike Atiyeh.
This first issue is not necessarily tied strictly to New 52 Shazam, although it could fit there. And that's one of the questions I think I'm going to get as a retailer, but many people might be wondering, is does this take place right after the Justice League origin story that we got in the backups? And it could take place right after, but we did not see the extra characters that now have the power of Shazam in that original run. Instead, it was a very origin story with Black Adam. Obviously, now we know with Doomsday Clock and the rest of the books that Black Adam is fine and alive and he's doing all right. But in this one, it seems like, okay, we've got the full team and we've had Billy Batson as Shazam for a while. He's had an established family now, but this book is mainly this is where we are in the story. Here's the threats that we're setting up, but it can also fit really well into what the movie will be next year. Obviously, Jeff Johns was very involved in the DCEU at that point of filming with Shazam, and I think he co-wrote the screenplay as well for the movie, or at least the story that it's based on. So this could very well be what we see, at least very heavily inspired by, on the big screen.
I really enjoyed this issue. It took a different turn than I thought it would because like you mentioned, we haven't had an ongoing, but we did have all those backup stories. And that kind of told the origin of Shazam. And this kind of opens telling that origin again. And I will admit, I felt the first 2-3 pages were very clunky.
Yes.
When they were setting that up. And I was like, oh, what did I get into? But then it just kind of takes off from there. And you get all these different characters. And each of them are very charming in their own way. And I'm very ready to see how they develop them and expand that. And obviously, there's a lot of room for, character development, but also a falling out between these characters, which is probably what we will see at some point. My favorite part of this book was the backup story, though.
Yeah, that one featured Mary Marvel, and I'm curious as to whether each of these backups will be focusing on one of the kids with issue 2, with issue 3. But what would you like the most about the Mary Marvel backup?
I really liked the pacing of it. I think my favorite thing about it, though, was the art. Because it kind of felt like a manga, right?
Yes.
And I would have loved to see a whole book like that. I would absolutely love it. But to see her background and where she came from is very heart-wrenching. Obviously, we got a big surprise at the end of this book, too. The main story, so we'll see where that goes. But like you mentioned, they do have that little nod there making fun of Captain Marvel.
Yeah, where Billy Batson just says, I just want to have a backup name or an alter ego to me, like Captain, and then someone, as he's saying Marv, they're like, lasagna's ready. As we wrap up this review, Dale Eaglesham's artwork, I would say, is something I'm going to have to get a little bit more used to. I was expecting something kind of like what we got in the Convergence two-parter that we got from Shazam, where it seemed like the older Captain Marvel that we got. I'd like to see like the squinty-eyed again, kind of like we got a few times from Darwin Cook, and obviously back when the books were first coming out. And that would have been a really nice change of pace. And maybe we'll get that in like an annual or something in the future, which would be great. This looks like it does fit that mold of DC Rebirth, of DC's New 52. And that's fine. I understand why they did that. But I feel like this would have benefited pretty big from something like that old school look. But that's my only thing with the artwork. It is technically done really well. I just feel like a different style would have fit the book better. Storyline, as I mentioned, it is setting up these characters, not only for the future of the book, but I feel like for the movies as well. And this is one of the first times where I feel like, and I know DC Comics is different and they're separate and they operate very differently from Disney and Marvel, but they are, it seems like Jeff he is invested in the movie world. So obviously we're going to get a lot of that in his story.
Right.
And if you haven't read the New 52 prelude, I guess I would say, to this first Shazam story, then I would say you can jump right in with Shazam number 1 and you'll be fine. There's enough setup in it and enough action, enough humor where I think you will be okay.
But with that, guys, we will wrap up our podcast for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening to all our rabbit trails.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed the show as always every single week. I'm Darth V. Daniel.
I'm Emperor Palpa Kelli.
And Brocat Core. All will be well.